Climate change is real, it is there. Climate change imeleta shida mingi sana kwa mambo ya area hii, kwa sababu tangu tumeona drought imekuja in cycles of every 10 years. Kuna drought, 1964 there was drought, 74, 84, 94, 2004, 2014. And more so, when in this area of Molo, quite a number of shambas were deforested, and rain pattern change and weather pattern change.
We have a challenge in terms of pollution. Right now you see the population has grown up, and people do really dump waste in areas. It can be roads, it can be anywhere. They don't know where they should dispose their waste. So that is the challenge that I have. I'm trying to educate them on the right way of disposing their waste. We have another issue of tree felling. That is illegal tree cutting. You find that people do cut trees without permit, without involving me. So that is another challenge that we have. We also have another challenge on the issue of flooding. We have that challenge in some areas of Kuresoi North. They experience flooding. So those are the major issues that we face.
In this area, we have the long rains and we have the short rain. The long rains start in March up to June, and the short rain is November, December. So at times, because of this erratic rain pattern, we may not even have plan to do our crops. We just only do it through trial error.
I'm trying to manage about the solid waste management. So we are trying a lot. We have some activities like cleanup activities where we go to various areas. Like in Kuresoi North, we have a place called Total. So Total is situated along the highway of Nakuru, heading to Eldoret. So you realize that this place is much polluted. So we normally do cleanup exercise in various parts, and recently we had a cleanup at Total as a way of managing the waste. As we are doing that cleanup exercise in solid waste management, we usually also sensitize people on effective measures of managing the solid waste. Also, in my activities, I'm doing the management of wetland areas. We realize that currently the population has grown up. So you realize we have a challenge in terms of wetland management. People are farming up to where there is riparian area. So those are the challenges that we have. So we are trying now to manage this particular riparian areas. We ensure that people are not farming along riparian land, are not planting the eucalyptus along riparian land. And this is also another challenge. People sometimes they cannot cooperate, so we are trying to educate them. We are also doing activities of tree planting. We plant the trees in institutions, schools, churches, hospitals. We usually work hand in hand to plant the trees, as well as the community lands. Recently we had an activity where we were donating some trees to farmers so that they can go plant those trees, take care, and with that we'll try to improve the forest cover in Kuresoi North. We have also other activities apart from planting of trees. We have like smart agriculture, climate smart agriculture. We are trying to educate farmers to embrace on smart agriculture techniques. They do things like crop rotation, mulching. With those measures, it can help in managing or in conserving the soil. So those are just some areas which I covered just to highlight.
We've been trying so through Parasas, where the chiefs have been saying we tunatia mkazo mambo ya kupanda miti. Mambo ya kupanda miti, mambo ya kuchunga mtoni, lakini ikiwa ni rain pattern, you know that one is an act of God. You cannot predict. But if we are to mitigate that one, I think we have to do afforestation again. Because in the last how many years, 30 years, in the 90s going backward, there used to be a lot of rain. But from 90s, when a lot of deforestation was done, rain pattern changed completely.
People are not aware about the policies. So when you go to somebody's farm and is doing illegal tree cutting, the first thing you are telling the farmer, you are aware that it is illegal to cut the trees without our knowledge. And no, you realize that they are not aware. The response they give you is that they will tell you, no, this is my tree, I planted this tree, and now are you coming now that you tell me we have to have permit from you. So you realize that some of the people actually during that moment, they can be arrogant, even they can attack you in that moment. So you have to be a little bit friendly, you educate them, you enlighten them until now they understand what they are doing is not right, and with that they learn to educate others. When you have also the parasas, we do try our best to be there so that we can educate people about tree cutting, planting of trees. That is all about the environmental conservation. We just try to educate them about the policies which are there.
In Kenya, as an agricultural country, we ought to put our efforts in agriculture. Yeah, and people should be educated. You know, nowadays we don't have extension officers. Extension officers were doing too much work, and it was helping farmers, it was helping everybody. Wherever a need arises, officers were there to guide the people or what to do in agriculture.
The major way of like bringing policies to the ground is just by sensitization. When people are being sensitized about the policies, they now have knowledge and they will put into practice.
Both the national government and the county governments has generated all these laws, the policies and plans and even strategies, but there is a disconnect because the World Climate Change Committees have no access or information about these acts and the policies and laws, as well as the plans and strategies. We really appreciate Twaweza Communications for identifying that gap and actually facilitating these two workshops of engaging with the local communities, bringing the government, the university, academia, the stakeholders together so that they can create the linkage, understand the policies, understand the laws, have a common understanding of the plans and strategies that have been put in place. And I think that's a way of capacity building, and it really contributes to some of the priority areas that have been identified under both FLOCA and also in the county strategy. It's really helping to fill up that gap, and we really hope that we can upscale these kind of interactions and dialogue forums with all the World Climate Change Committees from the 55 wards in the county.
Climate change is real, it is there, and we ought to do something about it. We ought to do afforestation, we have to change our lifestyle, and we do our own seeds. We used to have a variety of maize like 614, and 614 used to plant it from 60s even until late 1990s is when I think it was discarded, but that was the best crop because you could get the best one, you go to the shop, assemble the good one, dry it, and then you can plant the next season. The same applies to windy.
The aspect of indigenous knowledge from the discussions we've had is like there's a gap. Most of the participants appreciate the role of indigenous knowledge and local knowledge in terms of informing the process, but that also needs to be upscaled, unpacking this indigenous knowledge and seeing exactly how it can start informing the policy, particularly on these climate change policies, and also the policy on the nutrition, the county nutrition policy. That would be very useful. And then, of course, seeing on how we can now, from these capacity building workshops, how we can start influencing action so that we start seeing results at the grassroots level, because we are really trying to get as many champions, climate champions at the grassroots, so that we have a better society that's prepared to deal with the extremes of climate change.